Welcome to Capital College, and thanks for tuning in. Capital College is an ongoing series of events to help your business grow. We invite knowledgeable speakers to lead a lively discussion and give a very good presentation on information that will help your business grow. And they should provide an ability for you to help your business plan for the future and always do better. Also, these events provide an opportunity to network with your peers and make new connections.
Coming to Capital College, you're in there for a purpose. Coming to a seminar that's going to go and help you again grow professionally or personally. So you're able to still grow your business, meet new people, and actually build other network relationships that could help you or other people grow as well.
Capital Bank is very pleased to provide this series of events to support your local business. Helping business grow is our tagline, and this is one way we put that phrase into action.
We're going to get through this information and have fun at the same time. Is that okay? Yes. Let me add one additional house rule or guidance for you. You probably have questions. I would encourage you to write your questions down and hold them to the end. We'll have about 20 minutes to go through your questions. And if you'd like to share your questions with the helpers, the staff right there at the table, they can bring them up to me during the presentation, and I'll make sure to point out the questions and the answers as we go through the information. Fair enough? Yes. You all are here to learn something about social media and specifically about LinkedIn. Today, I have some objectives up here, but truly, by show of hands, the most common interaction and interest that I get in terms of an occupation are people who are involved in business development, sales, or marketing. So if that's you, please wave at me. Okay, so we have a handful of other people. The second probably are recruiters, some people who are in the journalism industry or some kind of expertise. So we probably have some of those as well in the room. And then, of course, because we are here because of Capital Bank, we probably have some bankers or financial services people. Let me see you. Excellent, excellent. The most important thing I'd like you to get out of here is how to extend your network. CJ mentioned that bio is a little bit outdated because I have more than 3,300 direct connections today. And these are primarily inbound connections, people who are seeking me for my expertise and wanting to connect. And so that's a very powerful aspect of LinkedIn. I want you to walk away with that. But most of all, I want you to leave here with a better sense of strategy. What is the strategy that's going to get me my goals, what I want to accomplish? What does success look like for each and every person in this room? So let's get started. Social media. How does it impact your business? Absolutely, it can help you increase sales. As Samsung has determined, 123 million devices, their Samsung smartphones and tablets and televisions sold directly because of their social media campaigns. That's above and beyond all of their other advertising. Driving traffic to your website, your store, your brick and mortar business, learning about competitors, all of these are reasons to be on social media. A quick review of the big three. We know who they are: Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Facebook is the largest social network. We know that. Many people still shy away from Facebook, perhaps some people in this room. And so we'll deal with Facebook. But what's interesting, social media in general amongst these three, but particularly in women, women are the majority of users. Why do you think that is? Because women are smarter. That's why. My wife loves when I say that. Understand that each of these serves a specific purpose. Facebook, consumer to business, we see that a lot. Twitter, we know that's for rapid and continuous updates and directing people from your Twitter page, following news feeds to another destination. Perhaps your YouTube site, perhaps your website, or your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn by far represents the biggest opportunity for business users, business to business. So how many people in this room today are involved in business to business transactions? Quite a few of us. Excellent. Why is that? Because not only LinkedIn, but the internet is a decision engine. Won't spend too much time on this, but basically what this statistic is showing us is that people who are earning in excess of $200,000 per year are investing time on the internet to research, to get sentiments from their friends, to get recommendations from their friends before they make buying decisions. So people at the higher echelons, if we want to reach that customer, that buyer, that's where they are, and they're using the internet very extensively before they make buying decisions. This is going to be interactive. I want everyone in here to interact and talk with me. Let's have our first quiz question. Social media, answer to my prayers. Finally, there's a legitimate way for me to hide behind the comfort of my computer or my reluctance to meet new people, to do cold calls, to sell, to network. How many people say that is true? How many people say it's false? The majority of the room. You've been overruled, my friend. The question is unanimously answered as false because 90% of the questions you have about social media are not in fact related to this trend or phenomenon. It's related to behavior that's been around for centuries. And so none of us can outrun our character. In fact, on social media, whatever our character and integrity is going to be amplified. And so we need to pay attention to that. If you don't have great interpersonal social skills, this is a reason for you to develop those skills because guess what? On LinkedIn, people are going to be able to detect that without you even saying a word. So very important to understand that. Next question. LinkedIn is becoming the #1 networking platform for business. Is that true? Yes, absolutely. We know that. And why is it? Because we know that people are using LinkedIn to conduct their initial research, as I said before, but most importantly, to be found. LinkedIn is a search engine that serves whenever someone is looking for a particular skill set, particular expertise, licenses that you may hold, and the type of business that you operate or are involved in. And so for us personally, we're working on our LinkedIn story of generating our first $1 million solely from LinkedIn, not other marketing. Inbound inquiries that turn into leads and convert into business. So how would you like to start your day with opportunities already in your inbox because people have found you on LinkedIn? That would change your day, I'm sure, right? So when we look at strategy not only on LinkedIn but in life, in business, is the most important aspect that allows us to derive value, allows us to get the results that we want. And so have you asked yourself lately, what is my strategy? What is my overall social media strategy? And what is my LinkedIn specific strategy? For some of us, it's career management, a job change. You can see all of these reasons in the list. Organizations are developing very specific corporate strategies that then the executives and the people in that company, they also tailor their activities on LinkedIn to meet that strategy. And so how can LinkedIn help you? All of these different ways LinkedIn can help you. And so we want to focus in on why is Jerome Leonard a qualified expert standing in front of you on this fine day? And I'll share some of that with you. In LinkedIn, we have the concept of ranking. Is anyone familiar with ranking? Okay, this gentleman is familiar with ranking. It's the same concept as search engine optimization. So when you search for a product or some keyword on Google or Bing, those companies that show up at the top of the list of return search results, those companies rank #1. And so my question to you today, for what you do, if someone was to search for that as a keyword, the title of your job, if you're in insurance or you're in financial services, where do you show up on the list? A lot of us don't realize that that's the most important activity that you can undertake on LinkedIn. I certainly didn't know that. And I'll share my story, my LinkedIn story with you very briefly. I got on in 2007 after a number of invitations. I thought it was a waste of time completely. I ignored it. But I finally did join, and I created the account. I didn't fill out my profile. I didn't put a picture there. I didn't do anything. And so I wasn't getting results, but I didn't realize what impact that was having on me and my business until a mentor took me to lunch. He sat me down. He said, Jerome Leonard, I looked at your profile on LinkedIn. You are a 0. He hurt my feelings. I said, Marvin, why? He said, understand this. He had introduced 2 people, the CEO of Culligan Water Systems, we're probably familiar with that company, and an engineer who had a patent that he wanted to share with that person. That introduction resulted in a $40 million transaction. And my mentor, Marvin, received a finder's fee. I said, Marvin, I'm a believer. See, that was the kick upside the head that I needed to understand the value of LinkedIn. So that was 2009. From that time forward, I've paid thousands of dollars to experts, read all the books, gone to the seminars to learn how to do this that we're talking about, ranking. And so my core skill is in an area called customer relationship management, and the product that I've been working with over the last 10 years, the main product is called Siebel, S-I-E-B-E-L. Anyone ever hear of Siebel? Few of us, okay. It's used by large organizations for marketing, sales, and support. So when you call a big bank or your electric company or Verizon, and that call that's picked up, it's typically handled by that product. And so people who are looking for consultants with that skill set, that's what they put in the people search. Just like you do on LinkedIn. When you're looking for someone, you may not know their name, but you know the title. So I rank out of about 36,000 other people on LinkedIn who have that in their title or have it in their keywords, rank in the top 10. The other skill that I bring to customers is project management. That's a very common term. Probably many project managers in this room right now. And so that search results in 4 million other people on LinkedIn who have project management in their profile. I rank there again in the top 10. That ranking has completely changed my reality, because here's what happened. The searches that we appear in on LinkedIn are the precursor for something very good happening. And that something good is a profile visit, meaning someone comes to my profile, they see what I've done, they see my capabilities, and they can interact with me. They can leave me a message. Typically, what people are doing is saying, Jerome Leonard, I search using Siebel Consultant or Project Manager. You showed up at the top of the list. How much do I need to pay you to help me with my problem? How would your day change if that was your reality? 3 to 5 times per day, someone who is self-qualified, your buyer, reaching out to you saying, I'm ready to do business. Huge, right? The other aspect that we have to look at in terms of ranking and where we show up on LinkedIn is recommendations. How many people are familiar with recommendations? Quite a few of us, most of the room. Did you realize that recommendations are used to affect the algorithm for LinkedIn presenting your ranking? So in other words, if you and someone else on LinkedIn have a very similar profile, similar keywords, similar type of experience, but you have more recommendations than they do, guess who LinkedIn places on top? It's not a trick question. The person with the most recommendations. And so here, we're simply showing you the types of recommendations that I've given and received, and also the daily inquiries that are opportunities, qualified leads, and again, almost 300,000 generated passively from LinkedIn, and another pipelines, future contracts of 600,000. And what I share with you right here is when someone has contacted you, and you probably have received some of these, and they're saying, hey, there's an opportunity I'd like to discuss with you. All of that is determined by what I just described in the previous slide. Your profile ranking, the recommendations, and we'll talk about how you do that in keywords. So I want to move very quickly. I'm not going to spend much time on this, but be aware that LinkedIn's end user license agreement says that the only type of profile you as an individual user should have is one for a natural person. What is a natural person? That means you. You can't have a fictitious LinkedIn account, nor should you use the LinkedIn personal account for a business entity. And we see people do that. They have their logo where a picture is. That's a violation of their agreement. You can have your account terminated because of that. So it's important to know. True or false? I value my privacy. I'm a private person. Instead of posting a photo and headshot of myself, it's just as effective to keep the generic silhouette. How many people say that's true? You all must have your pictures on your LinkedIn profile. Of course, it is false. Part of establishing a relationship is identifying someone. We tell our customers not having your photograph a current professional headshot is the equivalent of asking someone to meet with you at midnight in a dark alley while you're wearing a ski mask holding a shotgun. You get my point, right? The photo is a good thing. Your profile is the storefront to the world. And so you want to make sure it's 100% complete. I used to ask the audience how many people have a 100% complete profile, and someone approached me afterwards and said, don't do that, you embarrass us. But here's the deal. Those who have their profiles completed are 40 times more likely to receive inbound opportunities than those who do not. That's a huge difference, right? And so how do you complete your profile? It's deterministic. LinkedIn tells you you need to have these things on your profile in order to have it 100% complete, as you see here. And so I encourage everyone in this room, today, you can leave here and complete your profile. Why? Because you're 40 times more likely to get an inbound opportunity with a complete profile. Understood? All right. Headline. Your headline needs to be compelling. My headline is Success with Integrity. That's my headline. People can see the profile and they say, wow, what does that really mean? This guy must be honest. Maybe. But what is your headline? A lot of times we leave it as our job description, but then we also see the other extreme, right? How many people have visionary leader? If you have that on your profile, I'm not picking on you. Okay? But we have to find something that is going to be compelling, something that is going to be factual. And so we have some examples here. What is your value proposition? What do you want people to know in that small soundbite about you? And people would say, hey, I'm not that creative. Hire someone. Your 15-year-old will probably come up with some pretty snappy headlines. They know this stuff. We talk about the dashboard. LinkedIn, like most of these cloud applications, social media applications, to me, they just make too many changes and it's too much information. Would you agree, would you be honest that it's a lot of information in the profile that's coming at you all at the same time? And so where do you focus on? And we're going to give you in the end of this presentation a very short list of what are the things you should focus on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So you walk out of here with an action plan, okay? We want to make sure that you are monitoring this area right here. Who's viewed your profile? How many people do that? A few of us. That's where your opportunities are. That's your pipeline. That's your gold mine. So you have to look at who's viewing your profile and asking yourself, why? And what can I do to help that person who's viewed my profile? Make sense? You want to make sure that you are posting meaningful updates. This is a smart group right here. I can tell you, no one's going to care if you post what you had for lunch in this training, but they might care that you actually went to a LinkedIn training. So keep the post meaningful. And then there are applications that are available free with the free account. What I shared with you about the results that I received, most of that I've done with the free account. And they do have paid accounts, but I'm encouraging you to use what is already available. So we're showing you one of those applications here, the reading list. There's SlideShare where you can post, you can upload presentations. If you're a creative person and you have a portfolio of photographs, your artwork, you can do that as well. Let's keep moving. This is by far the most important slide, what we're going to talk about, how to. And if you're online right now and you have access to your LinkedIn profile, I highly encourage you to take a look at it. Because we talked about optimizing keywords. This is where we help our customers. Our customers have no clue on what is the purpose of this specialty section. In your profile, you have this specialty section. That's really where the search engine concentrates. You have your summary. Yes, we're all familiar with summary. That's meant for human beings. The summary is not the same thing as specialties, but quite often we meet people who believe that in specialties they should have sentences, paragraphs, soliloquies, haiku, their thesis. No, this is meant for short keywords separated by comma, because that's how the search engine, and that's where the search engine is going to look. And in its algorithm, it's going to drive the profiles that have those keywords on the return results list. Is everyone with me, or do I need to repeat that? Okay, good. So now that you know to help drive your search engine optimization, who do you want to find you? Who is your buyer? Who is the person of interest that you want to be able to easily locate you on LinkedIn for whatever it is that you are offering, your services, your expertise, your product, your interests? That's what you need to think about. And what words would that potential customer use to find you? Is it your title? Is it an industry term? Is it a technical term? So if you look at my keywords, I have Siebel in here. That's how I want people to find me. I have Siebel in here multiple times. And I have some very technical information that the buyers for my services are going to use as keywords. Now, the keywords can be placed inside of LinkedIn, in the people search, or in a search engine like Google or Bing. LinkedIn is going to serve up the profiles that match the keywords that the user has just entered into external search engines. That's huge if you want to be found. Checking your dashboard statistics like you see here. I mean, on any given day, how many times are people visiting your profile? How many times are you appearing in searches? That is an indicator of how well your specialties are optimized. Everyone with me? Excellent. True or false? LinkedIn is encouraging. This is a loaded question. Encouraging people to get recommendations in order to have a profile that's 100% complete. This is true. You've seen it. And LinkedIn has a wizard that will go out and ask people on your behalf for a recommendation. Do you believe that is a good idea or a bad idea? True or false? Do you believe that? I won't hold you in suspense. You think it's a good idea?
I know it's pushy, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay, the gentleman says it's a good idea. Anyone want to play some bets?
I know what the opposite, but I still think it's a good idea.
Okay, we say false. Why is this? We've trained now approaching 1,000 people, professionals all over Maryland, New York, down to Florida, on this concept as a standalone concept. And it has more to do with human nature than LinkedIn itself. I don't want you to walk out of here thinking about where do I click and what do I do, but more so, what is the philosophy that I'm using to drive my strategy, right? So as you would behave in a live conversation, and what does that do in that relationship? So while LinkedIn does allow you to ask for recommendations, we believe that's not a good idea. And here's why. You ask someone for a recommendation, and a recommendation is based on a valid, justifiable business relationship, not because they're a nice person. So first of all, let's make sure the quality of the recommendation can be evidenced by you work together with that person. They were your customer, colleague. Everyone get that, right? If you ask someone who's very busy for a recommendation, even though there's a valid justification for them making a public endorsement on LinkedIn that everyone will see, they may be busy. They may be at a time in their life where they're dealing with a crisis in their family. It's not the most urgent priority for them, even though it might be important to you. And so they don't respond right away. And now you're following up with them. And unintentionally, you're creating some tension in that relationship. And the extreme of it is that now that person puts your number on caller ID block. They're no longer accepting your calls. Why? Because you were too aggressive in asking for the recommendation. Here's a better strategy, a better approach. If you want to receive a recommendation, let's say from Daniel with Trident Scientific, you've worked together, you have a good relationship. There's two sides of the equation. You initiate writing a recommendation for Daniel. When Daniel accepts that recommendation, LinkedIn automatically asks Daniel to return the favor and recommend you. Did everyone get that? And so you bypass the potential to create unintended consequences, unintended strain in the relationship. So if you're the type of person that has no problems edifying someone else, praising someone else, then writing recommendations is part of your normal philosophy. Saying good things about people is part of your normal way of building relationships, strengthening relationships. Very hard concept for some people to understand. And so the recommendation can only really be validated based on the strength of your profile. When someone looks at your profile, is it just the titles that you've held, or is there actual content in what you did? So someone reading your experience, your responsibilities, your accomplishments, how many people you manage, that kind of content, that they would see that you actually have evidence, that they can reference your profile, that person who's recommended you, and see that you work together, you had a viable relationship. That's what a real recommendation is based on, and that's why they're valuable. Okay, so we think about that. You can only recommend someone that you're connected to. So getting back to your profile being 100% complete and your network being large. The average professional, even someone just out of college, knows on average 500 people. And in the LinkedIn circle, you're not taken seriously until you have 500 connections. You're viewed as more of a casual user. And some people believe that, well, I have a closed network. I'm very private. I don't connect with people I don't know. That might be your philosophy, but how is it helping your business? Would you engage business-wise with people that you don't know yet? And so we're encouraging people to build a large network. There's strength in a large network. And then find the people that you've had relationships with in the past. There's no expiration date on recommendations. Go back and recommend people. And the more recommendations you have, the better off you are, because it's a snapshot at a point in time. So you want to reflect to your network that you are continuing to do good work today that is worthy of a recommendation, just like you were last year and last decade. Are you with me?
Yeah, but I guess I always thought like it was your Rolodex, because I get all these inquiries to be the friend on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I don't know this schmuck. and then what happens too is sometimes I use my LinkedIn to sort of say, Joe Schmo is coming to visit me, right. And I'll see that they'll be linked in with two people I know, and I call them up and I sort of say, what do you know about this guy coming to visit me? And they'll say, I don't know him from Adam. That's right. So that gets very kind of frustrating as far as just sort of blanketing, accepting everybody.
Right. Right. Great comments. Great comments. There is a balance between quantity and quality, and due diligence is required. I mean, you don't know someone, check out their profile. See who they know. See if they are authentic, or it could be a hacker. You never know. Yeah. So, yes, you must perform some due diligence on every person who wants to connect with you that you don't know. Okay? So the behavior is right. Just like you would in the active world. Someone approaches you, you're going to check them out. Is this someone who I can trust, or is this person a thief? The same thing must happen on LinkedIn. I get this a lot. LinkedIn is a time drain. It takes too much time to use effectively. So, is that true or false? False. False. Absolutely. Used correctly, any tool is going to produce results, and the converse is true. So, when you're on there, be like a ninja. I mean, get in and get out, but make sure that you're doing the meaningful things in LinkedIn. Okay? We are winding down. We're going to get into open questions and answers. Business development people here. One of the other tremendous values of LinkedIn is being able to search and find people. And so if you've used search before, you know that there are rich business profiles on there. Just like we're seeing here, it tells you about the executives. We used to pay thousands of dollars, Hoover and Dun & Bradstreet, to get this information, and now it's available at our fingertips 24 hours a day. It's a marketing person's dream. And so use the search. You can showcase expertise with questions and answers very quickly. How many people have used questions and answers on LinkedIn? Okay, a couple of us. I use it frequently because I'm constantly encountering problems with my customers and trying to solve some major technical issue that I haven't seen before. The question and answer area allows you to pick the brains of other practitioners, other experts from around the globe. And so I can present my question. I don't have to reveal my customer's name, but tell enough about the problem that the experts will be able to look at it and say, I faced that problem, here's how I solved it. So I take that information now, I go to my customer, I solve the problem, I get paid. It didn't cost me anything to use questions and answers to solicit expertise. The converse of that is true. You can be the person who answers a question, and here's what happens. The person who posed a question has 7 days to evaluate all the answers that came in. The question is closed after the 7th day. The person who answered the best, and that's, of course, the person who asked the question, they determine which was the best answer. They can designate that person for that question as an expert. Guess what? When the media goes looking on LinkedIn for who is an expert in any industry or any category, they reference this question and answer section and see who has the most expertise, who's answered the most questions, and their questions have been selected as the best. So now you're getting invitations to speak at conferences, write articles, write books, based on the expertise that you've demonstrated in LinkedIn. Moving quickly, I'm going to skip that. New features, I'm going to skip that. Operating rhythm. And so what are you going to take from here and implement? And we're telling you daily, you need to stay in touch with your network. See what people are doing. If someone gets a promotion, it's announced by way of them changing the title. Congratulate them. Right? You may pick up the phone, you may invite them out, but also congratulate them on LinkedIn, because that leaves a record of your activity and others can see that. We talked about profile and seeing who's viewed your profile. This is daily activity. It takes less than 5 minutes. But in there, you see who has viewed your profile, therefore who's expressing an interest. Add updates weekly, make recommendations weekly or monthly, join groups. Anyone familiar with groups? You can join up to 50 groups with the free version. This is a collection of like-minded people. It may be alumni from a certain company or school. It may be a specific type of technology, a specific industry. There's 1 million groups on LinkedIn right now, and thousands being created every day. the benefit of joining groups is that you can connect with people. You know, LinkedIn asks you to demonstrate that you know someone by having their email, but by virtue of being in the same group, you don't need that person's email. You can connect with them based on belonging to the same group. And so membership has its privileges. We encourage everyone to join groups. Now you can take actions and questions exactly at my stop time. Okay, I'm going to start with this gentleman.
Can you write your own recommendation and send it to someone?
You can. If someone has an aversion to writing, I've done it. Or someone has bad English. Yes?
How would you do that? Do you just say, by the way, here's information about me, choose to use it or not, or edit it?
Remember, I just said write the recommendation for them first. Because here's the thing. If you receive many recommendations, but you don't give much, what might that suggest to people looking who don't know you? You're a taker. Exactly. And so recommend that person when LinkedIn says return the favor, and you gauge them, hey, you know, are you able to write it, or do you want some help? Here's some talking points. So just approach it that way.
That person, how do you say to them, if you need help in a recommendation from me, I'll help you? How do you do that?
For that, I pick up the phone and call them. I mean, these are people.
Really do that. Do this.
Well, you in here. I mean, you don't do it in the recommendation. You can send another message to them through InMail. LinkedIn has a guaranteed delivery service called InMail, or you know, if you have their email, you just contact them. Okay. But I would say that's a very personal discussion that you have with that person. Yes, sir.
Along the lines of recommendations, and I appreciate the recommending people you've done business with. I'm a photographer. I do a lot of business portraits.
Yes.
Someone gets in front of my camera, I photograph them, and I would like to have them recommend my services, but I don't necessarily may have never done business with them. So how can that, you know?
Great question. Great question. So how do you recommend customers? I recommend my customers. Now, you know, you have a period of time where you need that person's cooperation. They have to smile. They have to be a good subject. And so that's what the recommendation is based on. My customers, I recommend them based on we worked together, we overcame some challenges, and they paid me on time. Man, I love these people. They paid me. So you can write a recommendation about your customers. They were a great subject. They took great photographs. They paid me. That's a valid business transaction. Question back there, Mark.
If you're running more of a custom shop and not mass, you still want to get to 500, and do you also want to do that upgrade that I keep getting asked to do?
First question, yes, 500, absolutely. I mean, that's just like being legitimate. You know 500 people. Connect with them. And LinkedIn makes it easy because they can go through your address book, whether it's Outlook or Gmail, whatever you use, and find those people who are in your address book so you have a relationship with them. You can do that. I mean, they've got great automation there. Second question, you said upgrade. I resisted the upgrade for a while, but then they kept flashing that banner, you know, try 30 days free. I tried it. I liked it. I kept it. The difference in the free and the paid account is you're able to see more. You're able to see everyone who visited your profile, as with the free version, you're limited to 5. So I need to see everyone who's come to my profile. That's my pipeline. So it was worth it. And there's a $25 account. I get no commission, you know, for people signing up for that account, but to me, it's worth it. As a business person, $25 to get that kind of return, that's a no-brainer.
A year?
Month. 25 per month. Question?
I have 2 distinct businesses. Can I have 2 profiles, or how do I combine 2?
You can have 2 profiles, but you'll have double the administration. And so if there's a way that your 2 businesses can live on the same profile, you know, it's a case-by-case, you know, situation. Some people's businesses are so diverse that they want to keep them separate. But LinkedIn allows you to have multiple accounts, but the maintenance, can you deal with that? Because you're going to be getting notifications from both accounts. You're going to need to do updates on both accounts. So you have to weigh the overhead versus the benefit. Question?
I understand about the recommendations based success rate, though, that you sort of see when somebody gives a recommendation to go with that?
It's about 63.5% for me.
Yeah, a little bit more precise.
Give or take. Not everyone who you recommend is going to be compelled to return the favor.
Sure, but again,
But that's not the point.
correct. I mean, again, you go to these network meetings, every single week, this and that, and you sort of see what you get out of those. That's when I'm sort of figuring it out. Recommendation is still a recommendation. At least through this, you're hitting a lot more masses and everything else.
It's a giver's gain philosophy. I give recommendations because someone has earned it. And I really don't care whether they return the favor. I've released that positive energy into the universe, and that person is going to... I've had people look at, and I encourage you, Jerome Leonard, you can find me, go to my recommendations, see the recommendations that I've written. People have joined me just on the strength of my recommendation. I don't know you, but the way you wrote that recommendation, dude, it rocks.
I want the recommendation from you. That's
Let someone else who hasn't asked a question, go ahead, sir.
Yes, well, in my not-so-distant past, I was in the gaming business. And I can tell you that, the amount of people that wanted to connect with me was more than overwhelming. That would be an understatement. And, Joe Schmo from somewhere, wants to be my friend because they also play games. I really wasn't playing the games. I was more, but it doesn't matter. There are certain industries like that where you're going to get overwhelmed and there are young people, at least younger than me, who seem to be constantly on their,
On their devices.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do real, other work, not just be on, it can be a little overwhelming.
Yes.
And the other thing is that when you get recommendations, give recommendations, people who are searching for you, that they might look at the people that gave the recommendation and see you've also given them a recommendation. They say, hey, these people are just, patting each other's backs.
Well, I hear that, how credible. And again, your profile, that person's profile, that's where the substance is. If the recommendation is weak, yes, then that's a valid comment. But I would not downplay the power of recommendations at all. Because you can have a great profile and say tremendous things about yourself. That's just bragging. Let's be honest. But when someone else, a third party, and that person's profile is credible, they have integrity, they have accomplishments, they've recommended you, oh, that carries some weight. Just like in the active world, right? If I know these executives and they give me a glowing recommendation and CJ says good things about me, then it makes my job so much easier because her opinion of me is going to be extended into her influence, her circle of influence. So don't underestimate recommendations. Please take that. Sir.
I realize LinkedIn is for business professionals, but my clients are both business professionals, but ultimately consumer.
Yes.
How do I get to that person?
I love that question. I love that. We show the three big platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. The circle of life, that life cycle, right? And Susan and I are a great example of that. You can start out with someone where they're an associate. LinkedIn, we really don't use the term friend. That's a Facebook term. They're a connection. They're an associate. We start out business relationship. The business relationship is positive. Someone delivered services, we got results, we achieved success together. Now that person says, you know what? I have a place in the mountains, my family and I are going up to ski. Why don't you join us, if you guys are available? And now we connect on Facebook. The business relationship has extended to a friendship. And it can go the other way. I have friends who, they were high school, college, buddies. And we're connected on Facebook and never paid attention to really what they did professionally. But then we connect on LinkedIn. And I'm getting a call saying, hey, I want you to talk to this vice president of my company about doing a LinkedIn presentation. I looked at your profile. I realized that's what you do. We need your help. So you see, it's bi-directional. They're not islands living on their own. And Susan is nodding. She likes that. Does that answer your question? Excellent. How much time do we have? I want to make sure we respect everyone's time.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay, we can take a few more questions then. Gentleman right here.
An example of some of the subgroups you're going to do, like 50 different groups?
My groups?
Well, not yours, but are there groups, 50 different groups you've created? Or
No, groups that I've joined. So there are industry groups for CRM. There's a group for Oracle. I have a relationship with Oracle. Microsoft, all these big technology vendors have different groups, and they're getting more granular. I mean, there's Microsoft, and then there's specific products that Microsoft has. There's groups for executives, CFOs, CEOs, marketing executives. I mean, you just search, you will find more than enough groups for you to build relationships with like-minded people. Question right behind you.
What's your breakdown that you spend on LinkedIn from your daily routine, your weekly, your monthly, your yearly for you? What would you do today? What's your weekly? I got to do this. What's your monthly? And then what's your year? Do you go out every year and look at a whole?
Great question. And the iPad and the iPod, I have mine around here, helps with updates, and I have some tools that automate my posts. I spend probably the first 5 to 10 minutes of my day planning out the meetings that I have on my calendar, identifying those people on the profile. What have they posted? What have they said? What's new about them? Because that's going to give me a point of common discussion. I at least show interest in what they are doing. So I look at my connections, and then I will look at who's viewed my profile, right? So that's my own LinkedIn personal mode of operation on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, I am uploading presentations that share with my customers, big events that I've done. I'm also participating in group discussions. So group discussions, that's probably another 20 minutes on a weekly basis. Quarterly, I do a review. I do a review of where I am in terms of connections, in terms of those inbound opportunities, because it's part of my business strategy now. It's not separate from marketing. It's not separate from sales activities. It's integrated with everything else that I do. That's why the term social CRM, customer relationship management, is what I've been doing the last 10 years. So all of these behaviors, all of these interactions with prospects, customers, partners, vendors, that's simply an extension that LinkedIn allows to happen 24/7. And then on an annual basis, I'm just looking to make sure that anyone that I've interacted with and we've had success, that I've written a recommendation for them. Answer your question? Right.
I have a
Question?
question too. When you change something on your profile, your connections are informed. Do you on purpose do that so that every once in a while it pops up in your connections?
I'm posting activity that is intentional, meaning some milestone. A new customer, I get that customer's permission. Hey, I'd like to post that we've engaged together. Certifications, I just got a certification a couple weeks ago on ITIL, so I posted that. Meaningful activities. So yes, it is intentional, but it's meaningful. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you speak a moment about, I've gotten some, not friend, but requests to link that are Cheryl Teagues from Yemen in my email.
Right.
And then maybe they don't show up when you try to confirm that in LinkedIn. Can you just give us some techniques in terms of how to sort what's good and what's bad?
Right. Yes.
Phishing and stuff.
Be aware that there are hackers. There are bad people. I mean, just like in the active world, on LinkedIn, on social media. We have to be somewhat guarded and protect our information and our interactions. So I never, ever, ever recommend that people put your entire date of birth, like the birth year, month, because identity thieves can use that to do bad things, right? You may put the month and the day, but there's no reason for you to put. So check that, right? And in terms of suspicious inbound emails, you're going to have that happen over and over again. So look at the person's profile. That's the number one area that you can do immediate investigation. Who is this person? If the profile is suspicious, you can decline to connect with them. You can report them if you believe that the person is a hacker. Sometimes someone's new to LinkedIn. I mean, I know people who connect with me and they have nothing on their profile, but I know them. And so I'll accept their connection, and because this is my business, I tell them, look, I can help you to get your LinkedIn profile. If it's someone who is on the borderline, I can't really tell, I'll reply with an email. You can reply and say, hey, thank you for the invitation to connect. I looked at your profile. I don't see enough information there for me to feel comfortable connecting with you. Can you please explain your intentions? Why do you want to connect with me? 9 times out of 10, that person never responds. So close that file. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
I'm an attorney. Would it be appropriate to send see, it seems stupid to me to do it. That's why I'm asking. I won a case, as a telling people as an update. I want a verdict. It's not my nature to do that. Would that be the way to connect with people?
Not necessarily connections. My brother's...
Like you got a certification or
right.
you know.
Right. Lawyers are very guarded. My brother's an attorney. He's a partner with the law firm. I built his whole LinkedIn and the company profile for them. So you have some constraints with your privacy of your clients. But, if you're dealing with something that's public information, some cases are public information, you don't have to reveal a whole lot of details. You can simply make a statement that, hey, we won today in court.
I wouldn't identify even the court necessarily, but is that a dumb thing for people to receive?
It's not. It's not. It informs your network of your success. As long as you do it tastefully, I mean, you're not bragging. But it shows people that, hey, you're an attorney who wins cases, which is another confidence builder if someone's thinking of hiring you. Right?
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
So thank you very much.
My pleasure.